Yo, it's DJ Dallas, and you're listening to the Dynasty Nerds podcast.
Ready, set, hut, hut.
Welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast, where we discuss Dynasty strategy, rankings, and all things NFL. So get ready to geek out on fantasy football with your host, Rich Dotson.
And welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast. I am your host, Rich Dotson, here with my fellow nerds, Matt O'Hara.
Hey.
And Garrett Price.
How's it going?
That's going pretty swell. We're in this new fancy studio. You might not have heard our intro because, well, we got to figure out to get that intro back up.
Don't worry, we'll figure it out.
There's lots of things to figure out.
It'll be in there.
Multiple camera angles, I need a face plant transplant.
Face plant?
You saw that movie with Nick Cage and the late...
Face Off?
Wait, was that John? Oh, it's John
Travolta. He's still alive.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not Sir Sean Connery.
No.
Oh.
R.I.P.
Although Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery in The Rock,
Yeah.
great movie.
Yeah.
Great flick.
And The Rock himself.
The
good
Rock
stuff.
in The Rock?
In The Rock?
What?
Was he Excalibur?
Maybe.
You're silly. Stop hamming up for the camera, Garrett. So we're back. We're obviously launching well, not obviously if you're listening to us on the podcast. We are launching a YouTube channel.
Yeah. Here it is, the inaugural launching of the YouTube
We're going to do all
channel.
kinds of fun things. We're going to be doing jersey giveaway.
Gives away.
Just because we're doing video doesn't mean my speech is going to get better, okay?
It will probably go the other direction.
If you look at the video right now, you can see this lovely Baker Mayfield jersey behind us. So every month, I think we're going to just give away a jersey.
I think so.
Just take it. Although technically we weren't going to say what it was, so you had to watch the YouTube.
I know, but we're going to be coming up on it. You still want to check
you
it
messed
out.
it up.
No, but the giveaway codes will only be on YouTube, right?
Oh, maybe that's what we'll do.
Guys, we have so much to learn
There's
together.
a lot to figure out.
Gals, we have so much. We have a Kyler Murray jersey coming. You know, all kinds of good stuff coming.
Kyler Jersey Murphy coming.
But before we get into all this, how about a sweet, succulent, delicious word from our sponsor, our friends at MyBookie. That's right, MyBookie. We have late fall college ball coming. NBA bubble's done. All that UFC stuff is done. But MyBookie is something that allows you to get some skin in the game, where odds boost, lightning deals, and free bets await till all season long? Forever?
All season long.
Yeah, MyBookie. I mean, if you want to win some cash, right, you got to get to MyBookie. I mean, you have all the sports knowledge. You got to put to use and win some cash. I'm on MyBookie. Guess what I'm doing?
What?
Winning cash.
Winning straight cash.
Last week, didn't win some cash. But I'm still up on the year. Some of those games, I mean, the Rams not winning. I mean, Rams, hello.
Let me guess. You
would've
bet
seen
the
that?
Browns money line.
I did not bet the Browns money line.
You didn't.
I did. Yeah, but MyBookie is a place
Every
that lets
week,
you make
every
these
week.
bets. I mean, you're looking for future bets, prop bets. If you're looking to make any kind of bet, presidential bets, they're going on right now. Trump, Biden, I don't know which way you're leaning.
That's going
but
to dry up soon. Get on
lean
there
towards
quick.
the cash. Yeah, by the time you listen to this, you retro bet, right? Come on,
I think that
McFly.
works. I think you're allowed to do that. Yep.
So whether you're a first-time customer or have been playing with MyBookie for years, there's no shortage of value that we found in the thousands of game lines, unique prop bets, and contests they offer every single week. Sign up, get reloaded today, find an edge, make your bet, and get paid. They also boast a fully pledged casino platform giving you access to all the classic table, slot, and card games you'd expect to find at your local spot. And the best part is, at MyBookie, the doors never close, just like Vegas. So you can continue to build your bankroll even after stadium lights have gone out. Make that right play. Sign up today at MyBookie. Use that promo code NERDS. Use that promo code. You're going to get deposit matched halfway all the way up to $1,000. The terms are simple. You put in $200, they'll match you another $100 in your account. You're already playing to bet this season. Do it through MyBookie. Stay away from these other sites. Use our friends, because our friends are your friends at MyBookie. So guys, another week, more injuries.
More injuries.
So we're looking at George Kittle.
Yeah.
Out 8 weeks, says Shanahan. Says Kittle.
So this is a broken foot, midfoot is what it is, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's a rumor.
All right. I mean, 8 weeks seems like a pretty far or pretty long timetable, I think, for a normal foot fracture, wouldn't you think? I mean, is
Kind of
this
like a giraffe neck.
is this like one of those Jones fractures that they're kind of just
Well,
naming it something
Kittle
different?
said what? 2 weeks? You think he'll be back in 2 weeks?
That's what he says.
I don't trust him. But
Whoa,
it's
whoa,
interesting.
whoa.
I mean, 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's crazy.
2 weeks
goes
is
that
quick.
friendship?
All right.
We're not tight like that. We're not boys.
He's not DJ
He's
Dallas.
not DJ Dallas.
No,
we'll
he's
get
not.
to that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Hopefully we'll get to that.
We have a lot of time.
I've earned it.
We have so much time because it's YouTube. The Nerd Herd episode will be coming out late this week, which is good because we're doing a trade extravaganza anyway. So we'll try and get that out by Thursday morning.
Hopefully,
I think.
fingers
Try and
crossed.
record it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Actually, night maybe. Possibly.
I got time. You got time?
I got
time, Matt?
We'll make some time.
all the time in the world. So, Kittle, does this open a buy window for you in Dynasty?
I mean, I honestly don't think it does. I mean, if you have Kittle, I think you've seen how much of a difference maker he is when he's in your lineup. This is just like a minor setback.
I know, but say if you have Kittle, you're most likely a contender because he's so dominant. To be fair, though, he has been kind of missing a lot of games.
Right.
But say he did like those Kittle gives you the boost that you want, and you're a contender, and he's your only tight end. I mean, you're not just gonna give up on the season because you lost your tight end. Would you make a move here by offering do you think offering Evan Ingram in your first for Kittle is an overpay or an underpay in Dynasty fantasy football?
Man, I mean, I'm not like one of these guys that loves Evan Ingram, and
He's a bad example.
yeah,
Tyler Higbee in a first. I'm not somebody that loves Tyler Higbee either.
The hard part is this is something we were going to talk about later on in the show. There's really only like 3 tight ends right now that you trust like week in, week out.
Right.
Kelsey,
Waller, and Andrews. Those are the only 3 that I feel comfortable.
And Andrews is right now.
Yeah, he hasn't even done super great.
I mean, Hawkinson's been pretty consistent.
He's pretty close to that territory. Hunter Henry's been okay.
He's been okay, but nothing special this year.
Right.
He hasn't been scoring touchdowns at all.
Hawkinson's tight end 4 on the year.
Right, TJ Hawkins.
Robert Tonyan. Now I've heard it's not Tonyan, it's Tunyon.
I'd like Tanyan better.
Me too.
Sorry,
Robert
Tanyan
Harding.
Yeah.
I mean, that just rolls.
Sorry, Bob.
Yeah.
we refuse the name change. Like Tyrod Taylor. No, Tyrod.
No.
It's too late.
It's Tyrod.
We have too much skin in the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been
Tonyan.
Tyrod since like college days.
Right.
I mean, it's Tyrod.
Hayden Hurst falling right into that category of tight end 6.
Right. He's
Right
now,
where
yep.
we said he would be. Andrews tight end. He's missed some. Andrews is tight end 7 on the year. But I mean, Hawkinson.
He's had a couple bummer games.
Hawkinson's been. I looked at his average. Like Hawkinson, week in, week out, it's been pretty consistent.
And the thing with Andrews is Nick Boyle has been there and like kind of he's vultured a couple TDs from him and stuff like that. So
And also, Lamar Jackson hasn't been nearly as good. That was something we talked about.
Who saw that coming?
Their offensive line has been terrible this year, and it's fallen apart even more. After Stanley went down for the year. So yeah, they've had a hard time throwing the ball consistently at all, and I would expect that to continue the rest of the season.
So unless you're getting, we'll add Hawkinson to that group.
Yeah.
And
so Hawkinson in a first so second you right now, and I'm like, dude, I drafted Hawkinson high just a couple years ago. I'm still rebuilding. I'm right around the middle of the road. You own I own Hawkinson in a lot of leagues.
Okay.
I would have no problem. Maybe I would offering a first in Hawkinson for Kittle.
I think I would take the pick in Hawkinson personally.
That's what I'm leaning to. That's why I don't know if I'd
you're finally starting to like at least piak my interest with that. You know what I mean?
dude, the camera can see your nipples now.
You're right.
The jig's up. Hey!
There it is.
Easy.
How many gifts are going to be from our show now?
So many bad gifts.
You're going to give me a gift?
Well,
You're the gift that keeps on giving.
Ugh.
Remember that one of you?
oh yeah. Jared made that. Good old Jared. You can't see Jared. He's back there behind with the board and getting everything, making us look good.
What up?
Yeah. We hired one of those producers.
Nice.
Can't wait to get that paycheck. 8 cents.
What?
The shits is this? So back to the trade.
Yeah.
Kittle. Is this a buy and opportunity in Dynasty Fantasy Football for Kittle? That's the question. I mean, when you talk about elite players, so we get to the tight end group, it's when you talk about the elite of the elite, it's literally Kelsey and Kittle, because then it's Andrews after that. That's a different. I mean, as of right now in this year, it's a different tier, right? Would we agree on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Here's the question I have to ask, like, kind of throw back at you. Before he was injured with this foot injury, would Hawkinson in the first have gotten close to Kittle anyway?
I think so.
I think it would. So
Yeah,
I don't know that
too.
I don't know that this injury is opening up. I just think that's a good trade.
Okay.
So the next closest would
Robert
maybe
Tonyan.
All right.
the hard part with him, we haven't even seen Tunyon do it without Devontae Adams. there.
Don't you say Tunyon now?
I know.
Don't
I'm
you
the
do it.
Robert Tonyan Harding guy, and dang it.
We just declared Bob
I
as
know.
an official Tonyan, and this guy's over here like, from the Tunyon Tun.
Maybe Hunter Henry.
Rum, dun, dun, dun.
Would Hunter Henry be the
Okay. So okay.
first
Okay.
in Hunter Henry?
So you need these Hunter Henry in the first. I think would be there. You go. What about Hunter Henry in the first?
I mean, I think that's one of those things where I would, if I own Kittle, I would not take that pre-injury. But if I was contending and needed a guy, I might take him. So that, I guess, is an example of something that maybe kind of crept open just enough of a window to make that happen. But I honestly, for me, a Kittle injury is not affecting his dynasty value that much for me.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously it depends what tight end you have. So if you have Hawkinson, maybe you offer Hawkinson straight up, right, for Kittle. Right. Like, hey, dude, you're contending. This is tight end 4. He's super young, second year already. This is his second year he's tight end 4. That's great news, right? So that's fair value.
At this point, though, I would rather just hold Kittle and go after Jared Cook or go after Austin Hooper.
That was going to be my original point. Like, I just think I wouldn't be shipping off Kittle because he's injured. I'd be looking for a replacement guy, like you were just saying, one of these guys that can be had, and that still produces relatively high.
I'm not talking about the owners trying to ship. Of course, nobody. I agree. I'm not shipping Kittle either. I'm not. I'm just saying, but this is an opportunity to buy. The question is, can you buy Kittle? Like, if you can buy Kittle, what are you giving out there? If you even move off tight end, because somebody's need a tight end. You know what I mean? Again, it's a weird vacuum window because you got to be a competitor. You got to have a chance to win, and Kittle's got to be your only tight end.
Right.
To make this work. But we talked to 1,000. There's 20,000 people, over 20,000 people listen to the show, so you'd have to say at least 2 people out there in that scenario.
There's definitely some people in the scenario that you just
at least 2
laid out. At least 2.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Yes, I am.
But getting back to it, I'm not sure how much of a window it opens for me. But.
Okay, just talking. Next, Myles Gaskin.
Myles Gaskin's an interesting one because dynasty-wise, he doesn't have a ton of value. There are some truthers out there.
Right.
Where?
I've heard them.
People have said that they're out there.
They
so I have to
said.
Are they under the desk?
I got called out because of my ranking. They're like, Myles Gaskin's way too low. I'm like, I guess I'll move him up a little bit. And as soon as I move him up, MCL. I'm like,
your
thanks.
fault.
It is my fault.
It's your fault.
I'll take full. I don't care. I'll take mine. I'll take full responsibility for that. I'm not afraid. But they do trade for DeAndre Washington. Right. But at the same time, this actually gives Matt Breida some value over 3 weeks. Like, does this? Hopefully, this gives him some kind of window to be used. They bring 2 in. I think Breida is going to be a good little skill set to go with Breida.
No, I think so.
Breida Tua.
Breida Tua. But I think DeAndre Washington's the guy that they honed in on. They went and traded for him. He does a lot of the things, catching passes out of the backfield that I think Chan Gailey is going to like. So it's a matter of getting him acclimated.
Yeah,
so,
how quickly?
Exactly. If they can get him up to speed pretty quick, I would imagine they're going to start using him and Breida kind of, as a 1-2 kind of combo.
And the sucky part about this is Gaskin was really getting all the work everywhere.
Right.
Except for those first 2 weeks where Jordan Howard was just vulturing all the goal line stuff.
Mr. Inactive.
He's probably going to go back to vulturing goal line stuff from Breida or Washington.
He's going to be active first.
Right.
That's the big thing. It's like he's got to be actually allowed to play.
Put on a jersey.
Well, hopefully you didn't just buy Gaskin. I mean, that's the thing. People are like, oh, you need to move up Gaskin. I mean, it helps for the trade calculator, I suppose. But at the same time, I mean, there's no long-term window. The Dolphins are going to draft their running back. They got a plethora of draft picks. It's an up-and-coming team. They can use an explosive running back. So it is what it is. Andy Dalton's got COVID.
Concussion to COVID.
On top of everything else. I wonder if it was just like he still had concussion syndromes. They're like, dude, just do you have a fever? Oh, you got COVID. Get out of here.
And the offensive line's so bad. Andy Dalton's like, what are you gonna do? He's just like, achoo! Oh, I got fever. Like, you need more cowbell? Like, no, I need to sit down. I need Zeke to pick up a block. Guy's running back 1 on the year. We'll talk about him later, too.
Oh, jeez.
So Garrett Gilbert looks like he's going to get the start. I know the other guy in the practice squad.
Cooper Rush.
I don't even know he's on. I don't think he's even in my fantasy league.
Well, I think Cooper Rush was their backup last year.
He was, yeah.
He was the backup behind Dak last year.
Yep.
More like Pooper Rush, all right?
So Ben DiNucci obviously got fired, basically.
Right.
He's getting canned. He's getting sat this weekend, and it's going to be
I wonder
between
why.
those guys. Yeah, I wonder
Said,
why.
Hepatitis. See you later.
See you later.
So Garrett Gilbert's going to come in there. It actually worked out for me because I'm in a league where I had Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, who are both on bye this week, and Jimmy Garoppolo as my 3 quarterbacks.
Injured, right?
And I was like, I had no other quarterbacks. I'm like, what am I going to do? Checked out the waiver wire. Guess who was sitting there? Good old Double G. Yep.
Gilbert.
Hey, dude, with those
great name.
With those 3 receivers, okay, he's from Texas.
He's from Texas.
You don't mess with Texas.
Lake Travis, him and Baker, same high school, 4 years apart.
He didn't look too bad. He was with the Browns in the preseason.
He looked
year.
good.
Yeah.
You look good.
Talking about me?
Yeah, of course.
geez.
Always.
Dude, people can see me now.
Always.
The jig's up. I'm busted. They're like, oh, dude,
Ugh.
look at you. Don't look at you. You're married? Wait, you have kids?
You know what's going to happen after 2 weeks? It's just going to be a camera pointed on Matt. It's still going to be a podcast for us. It's just going to be visual of Matt the whole time.
Hey, our videos are going to go way up.
Way up. We're still a podcast.
Matt's
This
Twitter
is a
followers
video.
going to be going way up.
Matt's Twitter followers already don't make sense. Matt does nothing on Twitter. He's got almost 10,000 followers.
I'm almost at 10K. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
I couldn't believe it the other day when I saw that. I was like, wait, Matt's almost at 10K. He's on here like twice a year.
He goes on there. He comments on there and like
I
stuff.
comment every once in a while. You see me like Bigfoot.
Yeah.
You could
Skimming
you could
in.
increase your Twitter presence for the show.
I could.
Now that
try.
you're on video,
Clearly he doesn't
and
need
audio.
to. Clearly he doesn't need to. It still works.
For the people, Garrett. For the people.
It's for the people.
For the ladies. Sorry, gentlemen, ladies. He's taken.
Taken.
Moving on. Jimmy. Speaking of Jimmy G,
Uh-huh.
high ankle sprain.
He gone.
He's out for a while. The 49ers. Is there any other team in the NFL right now that've been hit with the boo-boo squad?
Jeez, it's brutal.
So they have Brandon Ayuk. He's healthy. And
He's healthy.
That's
Good.
about it. They just cut Dante Pettis because he fumbled.
Remember that one time
He
when
actually
we
was
learned his rookie
healthy.
profile? We're like, hey, Dante Pez is going to be terrible. Don't draft him. And he had that one good game. People were like, oh, yeah, you nerds don't know anything.
In your face, nerds.
Yeah, where's he at now? He's in the back of the car.
He's in the back of the car with Bishop Ranke.
Bishop Ranke with the windows. Oh, there's a lot of people in that car now. That car started 5.5 years ago, and it's been growing ever since.
That's right.
So got a lot of
Although
miles
you know
in the
who's
car.
back? He's like just hanging onto the bumper now. Samaje Perine. He's back.
Yeah, he's active. He's playing in
Wait, what?
in the Natty.
Yeah, he's been playing with Cincinnati while Mixon was hurt.
Yep.
You lying.
I'm dead serious.
Okay. Well,
With Gio Bernard.
If Alfred Morris is out there scoring fans points, anything is
I
possible.
couldn't believe that when I saw
Anything
that
is
come across the
possible.
ticker. I'm like, Alf Morris? I was like, wait, no. That's got to be a typo.
It's a different Alfred, clearly.
So we're looking for Nick Mullins to be the
There's
starter.
lots of Alfreds. Very common name.
Which very common.
Nick Mullins is going to be the starter.
Nick
there.
Mullins,
Yep.
for a while. I mean, obviously he's on IR, so it's at least 3 weeks. But they're saying this is worse than the other one that he sustained in week 2.
He might be out for the year.
He kind of rushed back from. I don't know that he'll be out for the year, but
Why wouldn't you just sit him for the rest? Your team's in shambles. Go for the higher draft pick.
And is Nick Mullins that much worse?
no. I think we discussed this last time. Nick Mullins was
then we'll
starting,
move on.
and I think it.
No, we have a lot to cover.
All right, let's move on.
You're dragging down the show. Just because you look good doesn't mean you can start dragging down the show. Now the jig's
Yeah,
up,
we got
too.
to talk about DJ Dallas.
Yeah, this guy's got a lot to say.
All right, let's move on.
You're gonna hear the table
Aaron
back. You're gonna
Jones
see the
attempting
table
to
rise.
return for Thursday night football, but it seems unlikely.
Dude, Aaron Jones, unlikely return. Jamal Williams has got COVID. He's out there French kissing Andy Dalton.
AJ Dillon has got COVID.
Well, he doesn't have COVID, but he's been close to AJ Dillon, who does have COVID.
Oh, and they were French kissing.
Yeah.
Dude, you don't want to French kiss people that
Oui,
have
oui.
COVID.
Yeah, that's the number one rule of COVID.
Do adults,
kissing.
adults
Don't
French
French-
kiss? We talked about this like years ago,
Do
right?
adults?
I
French
remember
kiss?
that episode.
Remember, I was like,
When's the last time you French kissed your wife?
When's the last time you French kissed your wife?
Last night.
Dude, me too, actually.
Oh, nice.
First time in a while, though.
It's not like a regular occurrence, but
It's
like
not.
maybe like a once a month kind of deal.
When things get hot and heavy.
Yeah, when it's that night, not just like a normal like night, but like
Yeah.
an extra special night.
Maybe things got hot and heavy last
You guys
night.
just aren't as romantic as me, I guess.
Oh, I was
Is that romantic?
Oh, dude, I was super romantic yesterday.
Depends on how you do it.
I've never thought of French kissing as romantic.
What do you count it as, Garrett?
I don't know, just like really horny.
Just necessary step to get where I want to go.
If you really
I'm not
break,
like, oh, romance me.
yeah, if you break down French kissing, it's pretty disgusting.
Right. I don't think it's that romantic.
But in the moment,
Maybe.
What are you, 7? What is disgusting about French kissing?
true story. I did French kiss my wife last night.
Last yesterday.
And in my head, being a hot romantic husband,
Right.
I go, this French kissing's a little ridiculous. I'm like, I'm 41 years old. Or French kissing this lady.
This lady.
This lady.
I don't even know.
Just this random lady.
I've known her so long. I don't think she's enjoying this. I think mentally she's not enjoying this. She
She's
wants
checked
me to
out.
stop. I'm willing to do this. Just talk. But she can't talk because my tongue's in her mouth.
Right. That makes it really difficult.
So Aaron Jones out.
Out.
This makes Tyler Ervin a waiver wire pickup.
A gem.
Who else they don't have anyone else, right?
The
somebody
only other
else.
potential guy is Dexter Williams. He was from Notre Dame
Couple
on the
years back.
practice squad, but I think Irvin's the only other one that's been on the active roster hardly at all. I think Dexter had like one game maybe, but
Okay.
yeah.
Tyler Ervin's got some pass catching ability. He could fill into that role a little bit. He could be a double PPR kind of point kind of guy.
He's a
Absolutely.
diminutive guy though. He's only 5'7" or 5'8".
Yeah, he's not a big guy. He's a big like special teams guy and that kind of stuff. So
no, it's not.
If
small.
If anything, I think it only confirms that like Devontae Adams goes from like 15 targets to 17, 18 targets.
What about Bob?
Bob's gonna get like 50 probably.
Dude, Bob's looking good.
He's looking real good.
What do you guys make of the Will Fuller rumors that they were going after him?
Missed them by that much.
Yeah, it sounds like it didn't come to fruition, but would you guys have liked that fit there in Green Bay?
Talk about small. Look at Will Fuller's hands.
Yeah. Smell like cabbage?
Nothing excites me about Will Fuller in that ride.
I mean, would it
would have been good for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it would excite me a little bit.
I guess. Yeah, you're right. We rag on Will Fuller, but he's doing okay this year.
He's having a very good. He stayed healthy. It's never necessarily been an issue of talent. Yeah, he has some drops here and there, but he makes some plays when he's on the field. It's just he's not on the field very much this year. He has been.
Okay. One last injury: Kenny Galladay, hip. Another one bites the dust. He's gonna be out for a little bit.
I was going to say, I did not read up on this one. Is he out for a long term?
It's for sure week 9.
Okay.
And then it's considered week to week after that. So they didn't put him on IR. So I'm expecting that'll be back within the next 2 to 3 weeks.
And they brought in Mohamed Sanu.
Right.
Did they actually sign him? Or did they just brought him in for a visit?
That's a good question.
No word yet.
Yeah, okay.
I've been caught up at today's election day, so
Sure.
my Twitter feed's been mostly Trump and Biden.
Gotcha.
One of those guys is going to win.
They're going to be president.
Allegedly. Unless Kanye wins.
Kanye's going to win for sure.
That's who I voted for.
Easy.
All right. Tua makes his first start. And he gets a W, too, nonetheless.
I mean, that if you saw the game, it was the defense and the special teams that really won that game. Nothing special coming out of Tua, but first start, got on, kind of over the hump and got in some NFL game action. And
he got rocked on one play, too.
Did he? I missed that.
Yeah. The Rams are not the easiest defense to start off against because you have an elite corner.
Yeah, tell my bookie that. Yeah. 4.5. Yeah.
That didn't work out for you, did it?
It did not work out.
No. Did not work out.
So you got Jalen Ramsey, who's arguably the best corner in football. And then you got Aaron Donald, who's the best player probably, period,
right.
Defensively, maybe even at all positions. I mean, he's that good. So that's a tough draw for your very first game. But I will say it definitely made it seem like there's a clear line between Burrow and Herbert and Tua. One game, complete overreaction. But he did not look as smooth as those two guys did in their first game action.
No, but I mean, you have to look at it this way as well, though. He didn't have the same offseason as them.
Sure.
I know that, all these guys came in with a short offseason.
Well, Herbert didn't either. Herbert stepped in that day.
Herbert looks great.
But he was injured. He was coddled. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Tua did not get the reps, even in that short and truncated the preseason that all these other guys did.
That's fair. Yep.
I mean, obviously, you clearly rate. It's funny because I put a question on Twitter. It got tons of responses our podcast question of what quarterback would you rather have right now over Trevor Lawrence in a Superflex rookie draft besides Pat Mahomes?
Right.
People are like naming all these quarterbacks. Tons of Justin Herbert responses, and I'm still like, listen, I love Justin Herbert. You go back to our original YouTube mock draft. People were mocking us saying we were taking Herbert 3rd overall in our rookie mock drafts, and people were literally like, oh, these guys don't know Dynasty. You got to take the running backs there. I wouldn't even take Herbert 6 or 7. And you're like, now look where you take him. Yeah, startup.
None of the running backs are looking that good right now.
For me, people are like Justin Herbert. I'm like, come on, guys. Like, I love Herbert as much as anybody. I still wouldn't take Herbert over Joe Burrow.
No, I wouldn't either.
Joe Burrow looks great too.
I think Burrow has a ton of upside. I mean, it is.
He's Pennywise. He's got it.
It's exactly. It's closer. I mean, the gap is closed considerably.
The gap is closed. Their clothes aren't as good as they used to be.
They're still open, aren't they?
I don't know. I never had a clothes.
I think they're still open.
I think the
Old Navy, aren't they like
Old Navy?
together?
Yeah, the Gap, Banana Republic. They're all like one company now.
Weren't they always one? The Victoria's Secret, same guy.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Wexner, Ohio.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I like their clothes.
There you go.
All of them.
All of them.
All of them.
I'm in.
But anyway, I don't remember what you got me so sidetracked.
Tua. We're talking Tua.
Okay, thanks.
So Tua. So we talk about the Dolphins. So his first start, we can't judge him off of first start.
It's his first start in the NFL. I mean, obviously, like you said, Herbert was much better in his first start than Tua was. But
dude, Herbert's arm is so smooth, so
is
strong.
very
He's got that Aaron Rodgers-esque to him.
But
Little Matt Stafford, little Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, but Tua did make a really impressive throw down there in the red zone to Devontae Parker. Really threaded the needle, put it in the perfect spot, and that was a nice throw. So there's plenty of upside there. I think it's going to take a while for that to really come to fruition.
And the one thing we haven't touched on at all is the last time this guy was in live game action was when he had that terrible injury.
Absolutely.
You know, there's also a rhythm to getting hit again.
Right.
You know, that takes some time getting used to, and you're probably a little unsure that first time, like, okay, is everything going to stay where it's supposed to be? Is everything, you know? So that's kind of scary too. So you definitely have to, you know, cut him a little bit of slack for that as well.
Definitely.
All right, next.
Let's move on down to the running back position. We're going to talk a lot of running backs here for the rest of the show, and I know at some point we're going to have to take a break. But first, I want to ask you guys this question. Who at this point would you say for the rest of the season, we're not saying dynasty value, we're just saying for the rest of this season, what running back would you most want on your team? So if you have the option to go trade for any running back, which running back are you wanting to really put your team over the hump? Who's the best one?
Out of all the running backs?
I think there's a clear three in my opinion.
Okay, give them to me.
I think the clear top three right now would be Dalvin Cook, Christian McCaffrey, and Alvin Kamara.
It's a good three.
Is there anybody else you would consider putting in there?
Into the top three wise? No, I think that's pretty fair. Aaron Jones is averaging in that he's above the 20-point average. He's averaging 23 points per game, where and Derrick Henry averaging 20.5 points per game in the PPR leagues. They get in that conversation, but dynasty wise, yeah, in a league, it's Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook right now.
So rest of the season, who's the guy you want?
I'm still taking Christian McCaffrey. I'm not going to let the injury bug me down. I mean, you got Mike Davis out there. He's still running back number 8 on the year in PPR leagues. He's averaging 14.9 points per game, which is good. But Christian McCaffrey's still an electric playmaker. We'd have to imagine Joe Brady's going to use him wisely. Alvin Kamara looks tremendous, but you'd have to imagine some of those receptions would possibly, because he's had an influx of receptions lately.
I think he has the most at this point that any running back's ever had through this many years.
Yeah, and he normally, for the last, his whole career,
Forever,
81 points.
Yeah.
And we have to look.
He's at 55 now. He's going to blow that out of the water.
Right.
But when Michael Thomas comes back, you'd imagine some of that would dip just a little bit, right?
I mean, you would
think.
hypothetically think.
But he's looked so damn good.
He has. And the hard part is Drew Brees is not looking to get it downfield like he used to. So that makes Alvin Kamara just the perfect landing spot for him.
And you know, if you look at who he's playing, I mean, in the playoffs anyway, he's got the Eagles, the Chiefs, and the Vikings, who altogether, none of them have above top 19 against the rush. So it's top 19, top 24, top 29 are the defenses for that run of the playoffs. So at least Kamara sets up pretty well if you're in the playoffs.
So here we go. So I'm thinking about this in my head. And we both quickly went to, I went to Christian McCaffrey. And they're like, well, you know, Alvin Kamara is running back 1. He's doing this. Alvin Kamara averaging 28 points per game. Dalvin Cook only averaging 27, he's averaging 27 points per game, only 1 point less than Kamara. Right. But Dalvin Cook is actually safer between the tackles. Like, he's the safer bet between the tackles. So any uptick in his receiving ability is better. Is a safer guy here Dalvin Cook, or does Alvin Kamara, just with his pass catch ability, give you the safer? So I said Christian McCaffrey. Matt, you would say?
I would say Kamara.
Garrett would say?
Well, I'm actually going to go Dalvin Cook. So that's interesting that we all three would have somebody else as our top rest of season guy.
I mean, I think you're really splitting hairs with all three.
Right.
I mean, I would take any one of them, to be honest. But I mean, Dalvin Cook's, he's up in this conversation. I don't want to say only because this past week, because it's not, but
definitely gives
his
huge
points
boost.
per game went way up. You know what I mean? From just this past week, scoring 48 points.
The reason I have chosen to go with Dalvin Cook is that I think there's less variables, where I think he's going to stay roughly in that 23 to 27 points per game.
And they want to run the heck out of the ball there.
They do, and that's the thing. I think he's going to be the guy.
Yeah.
They're just going to run the crap out of the football. Christian McCaffrey is coming off injury, so you know we have that. And a lot's changed since he's been gone. Mike Davis has played well. Yep. I'm not saying Mike Davis is actually taking things away from Christian McCaffrey, but one of the things that made McCaffrey so special was there was no one else ever. It was only ever Christian McCaffrey. And this team has won some games without him. And so when you've been out that long and you're gelling and things are going, it could take him a while. I'm not saying it will. He could still easily be the top one, but there's at least that variable. Same thing with Michael Thomas coming back with Alvin Kamara. There's that variable. How is that going to work out? There's really no variable for Cook. And so that's why I would rather have him personally.
I wanted to say Cook. I did. But I think it's so easy because of what we've done lately to remember what Christian McCaffrey does in the fantasy football world, which is
Absolutely.
absolutely destroy
Right.
on a week in, week out basis, almost averaging like over 30 points per game. So I'm just going to go with him on a history basis, but I did want to lean towards Cook. So I would actually go Cook over Kamara.
Okay.
Just as a safer bet, with, mentioned with Thomas coming back and just his running between the tackles ability. But Kamara's looked dynamic too, even just run the ball, run
Absolutely.
strong.
He
So
has.
I like them both. Again, we're splitting hairs. It's just the cheapest one out of all those guys, though, would be Dalvin Cook to buy.
I would think so.
I
would think
bought
he'd be
Dalvin
this expensive.
Cook over the last couple of years. I bought him in multiple leagues, and sometimes I've only had to give up first at multiple times for him.
I mean, obviously, not after a 48-point game.
Oh, no.
It's not the time to
Not-
buy.
not
But
Those days
yeah.
have come
Yeah.
and gone.
Rich, I don't know that. What's going on over there, Rich?
I see a lot of fumbling.
I'm getting the crystal balls out.
Oh my
Oh,
god!
no.
Oh my god!
This is the first time. This is
We got,
the first time on camera.
we got,
Oh my!
woo. We got DJ Dallas, right, from
Show
PredictionStrike.com.
those things off a little.
Got that right. Balls. Sweet, succulent balls. Who's the next big win on PredictionStrike.com? TDs. Who's the next big guy? Who are we looking at? Is it
I'm so
Matt
distracted
Breida?
now. I can't even think.
is it Breida?
Is it Breida? Is it Dwayne Washington?
DeAndre Washington?
DeAndre Washington. Sorry.
Dwayne Bowe and James Washington together.
We'll figure it out. We'll let you know next week.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so moving on. Garrett?
All right, moving right along. Let's go back to the running back position. And I want to talk about a couple guys. We've mentioned about the rest of season value. And that's something that, it's not necessarily unique to Dynasty, because if you're a contender, you kind of go into a little bit of a redraft mode. It's what can I do to make sure that I win this season? Okay?
Listen to this show.
That's a great way. That's a great start.
Nailed it. There you go.
Totally
Well,
nailed
that
it.
segment's over.
That was a fun segment. So let's talk about two running backs that preseason wouldn't have had a lot of value. And maybe even a few weeks back, one of them wouldn't have had hardly any value at all. But I want to see where you would say these players rank rest of season. Not dynasty value. Not dynasty value. Just rest of season. You're a contender. Where do these guys rank in your rankings?
So I just go to Dynasty GM, go to Contender ranks, and problem solved.
There you go.
Okay.
Done and done.
Go on.
So let's talk about James Robinson.
Yes.
I'm gonna give you a list of players. We'll go one by one. Tell me if you would rather, both of you, tell me if you would rather have James Robinson on your team in the playoffs, or you would rather have this player on your team. All right? Josh Jacobs, just for this season.
I'm going to take Josh Jacobs. Am I going to take Josh Jacobs? I mean, James Robinson's averaging 4 points more per game. James Robinson's currently running back number 5 in PPR leagues, where Josh Jacobs number 11. And had a nice game versus Cleveland to really help that up, because he's been just not average. I mean, he's still running back 1 on the year.
But it's really been buoyed by the Cleveland game and the first game against Carolina.
And it's weird because there's always Raiders are always bringing in new running backs and talking to running backs. It's like, dude, you draft this guy in the first round, but you keep tickling these other running backs. Like, come on, we all don't need that many giggles in our life. Okay. I would take, for the rest of the year, I'm just going to go ahead and play it safe and play James Robinson.
I'm going to take James Robinson too. I don't think it's that hard of a question.
He's running back 5 on the year. He's been consistent. He's averaging 19.1 points per game. On an average per scale, he is still running. So not only is he running back 5 on a year in points total, he's also running back 5 on a year in average points per game, which is nice as well.
And his low water mark has been 10. He hit it twice. And, a guy with Josh Jacobs, he comes with a little bit more volatility. He's been down in the 6. He's at a 6-point game, a 9.3 point game, and then he's up at a 22-point game and a 39, 30-something point. Yeah, exactly. It's very up and down with him, whereas Robinson's been very even.
He's been very consistent. He's had a couple nice big games, but overall he's been very
So
consistent.
James Robinson's the winner.
James Robinson's a winner over Josh Jacobs. Now, I do want to throw this out there. Does the potential switch at quarterback, does that have any effect on his value or not at all?
No, they got to run the ball even more.
Okay.
And I think if it's not working out, they're just going to go back to Minshew whenever his thumb heals back up.
Yeah, it's not like all of a sudden they weren't stacking the box and play, respecting the pass already in Jacksonville. So it's not like the defense are going to change drastically.
And Jacksonville actually has a surprisingly good offensive line. I think that's something that's been lost in this. If James Robinson, for whatever reason, doesn't end up being the guy, I actually want the running back in Jacksonville. Their offensive line has done a very good job.
And another thing is they went from, Gardner Minshew to this 6th-round rookie. They jumped
Jake Luton.
Right, they jumped right over Mike Lennon, the guy that's been around.
Which is tough because he's 6'7", so to get over him, it takes. I mean,
that's a big jump.
A pogo stick or something. High-powered.
It's a real high, real good high jumper there. All right, this one, I'm interested to see your thoughts here. Derrick Henry, James Robinson, rest of the season.
I'm gonna take Derrick Henry.
Yeah,
Derrick Henry's averaging more points per game. He's higher running back. He's number 3 on the year producing.
Neither one of these guys has, backfield competition either,
right.
And they want to run the heck out of the ball there. I think they just have a better situation in Tennessee for him to succeed going forward.
I put this one on Twitter, and I thought James Robinson was going to win. I didn't realize by how much. So I want to see what you guys have to say. Ezekiel Elliott or James Robinson?
I mean, I think it's James Robinson, and it's because that team is such a big mess right now. I mean,
it's a dumpster fire.
Their offensive line is terrible. They have obviously nothing going on at quarterback whatsoever. And
Zeke's looked pedestrian these past few weeks.
He has not looked great. I think it's in his head, all these fumbles and everything. He's not looking great. And that's by no means am I saying would I take Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, James Robinson over Zeke Elliott in a dynasty format.
Right, you're not trading him straight up.
Yeah,
no.
for the rest of this year, I would take James Robinson.
I'm still taking Zeke.
You're trusting.
I still believe in the talent. I'm not going to let a couple games dictate that. I mean, we're talking about Zeke, and Zeke's already. You're right. Zeke's these last couple of weeks has been terrible. Right? I mean, terrible.
He's been awful. Yep.
He still has more fantasy points than James Robinson. Only 5, but he still has more points than James Robinson. They're averaging pretty close, about 2-point differential. But it's over Zeke. These last couple of games have been really bad. They're bringing Garrett Gilbert. That's going to change the little things. You still got to rely on Zeke. I still think he's talented enough and one of the most talented backs in the league to still produce. So
you said it. I mean, the last 2 games is when he looked like total crap, and it's been
without Dak.
Yeah, without Dak. That's what it.
I just think it's going to turn around.
Okay,
it's my gut.
All right.
I mean, what else are you going to go on? I mean, there's no stats that are going to say Zeke's going to turn around or James Robinson
the
be better.
stats show that he's going to look like crap the rest of the season.
I think
just look at him.
I think the safe bet here would be James Robinson, but I would take Zeke.
You're going to take the upside.
Like, if you're like, hey, you got to start one or the other the rest of the year, I'm still going to start Zeke and hope for the best.
Joe Mixon.
Oh, James Robinson.
James Robinson.
Yeah, easily.
It's James Robinson as well.
All right, then it probably will be for the rest of this list.
There's not many more guys here.
Let's break it down. Joe Mixon has looked pedestrian this year. The offensive line's not all that great. He's just not scoring all that many points.
I mean, he looked. That was how he looked the first 3 weeks. Those last 2 weeks before his injury, he actually looked really good. And he was getting heavily involved in the passing game. He got 6 and 8 targets in the passing game those 2 weeks.
But now Gio's come in and he's looked pretty good.
He's done just fine.
Yeah, so I mean, I would expect them to work in both those guys again when he's back, and that's a bunch of crap for Mixon's value. So,
sure.
I don't know. I personally would take James Robinson going forward.
Going forward, I would take James Robinson too. I mean, there's not many running backs here on this list that I can imagine taking over James Robinson for the rest of the year.
So we're really only saying there's like 3 or 4 running backs in the NFL right now that you would take over him. What about Aaron Jones? I don't have him on the list.
A healthy Aaron Jones, I would take over James Robinson. For sure. Yep. He's averaging over 5 points more per game than him anyways. He's just more dynamic. I'm for sure taking Aaron Jones. I know he's got the calf injury, but if we're talking a healthy guy the rest of the year,
so we're saying Jones, Kamara,
McCaffrey, Henry,
Cook, and Henry.
Derrick Henry, yep.
And I'll give you another one.
Top 6.
I'll give you another guy who I might possibly consider taking over him as well, and that's Nick Chubb.
Okay, yeah, Nick Chubb was on the list. I thought about talking about him as well.
Yeah, when he comes back, he's another guy I would consider taking over him as well. Even Kareem Hunt, since Nick Chubb has left, has not looked nearly as good. I know Wyatt Teller out, the right guard is out as well. That hurts as well because when he was in, his average has been better. But I mean, he is the yin to Kareem Hunt's yang. So
I think they work really well together. You're right, and the thing that Hunt lacks is that burst that Chubb has. He can break a big run, and I think with Chubb wearing guys down with his physicality and his ability to break big runs, Hunt comes in and kind of complements him, is a little bit shiftier side to side, and they work really well.
And I think it helps show who really was the best back in that offense, and I think it was clearly Nick Chubb.
You're right.
Here, I got a question for you. Who would you rather have the rest of the year, Jonathan Taylor or J.K. Dobbins?
It's funny. Jared and I literally talked about that in the car on the way up. I'm actually to the point, so we
should have never moved him that high, Matt. We were right the whole time.
I didn't move him.
Well, and Nerd Score. So you basically did stay at 2 the entire time because you had him 2 preseason.
Yep.
And then you stayed at 2.
J.K. Dobbins?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually had him one preseason. And he also ended up in our nerd score as the highest.
We told you were
running
wrong
back.
the whole time.
Well, what about CEH? Would you rather have CEH or J.K. Dobbins?
Oh,
yeah.
that's close. It's close. It's really close for me.
I would take Dobbins over both of them right now.
I would take.
Dynasty value and rest of the season.
Well, JK is just fantastic.
That's what I'm saying.
Give me the stats on Dobbins again. You tweeted out earlier today.
He
rusher for over 100 yards on Pittsburgh.
Yep, he was the only player to do that so far this season. And this was really his first opportunity to get to play without Mark Ingram.
Right.
Mark Ingram's been banged up. There's no true timetable as to when he's going to be back. We think it's going to be within the next week or two, but he could just end up playing so well that he ends up becoming the 1A.
So your championship caliber team right now, right? Running backs are dropping like flies. We always hone in on these kind of players, right? Like buy now. What looks like an overpay today is an underpay tomorrow. Is J.K. Dobbins fit the bill of what's an overpay today is an underpay tomorrow?
Yes.
Even if you're not a contender, like you could use it the flip side of you're not a contender, you have a high 21 first coming in for J.K. Dobbins. Or if you're a contender, what are you giving up for J.K. Dobbins? What are you giving up? I'm trying to think of a running back here. Like, are you giving up
a guy that's injured, Austin Eckler or somebody like that?
Austin Eckler in a first for J.K.
And
Dobbins.
a first?
In a first.
Where's the first?
Late. Because you're a contender. Austin Eckler's will be back soon, though. That's the problem. That's a tough sell, right?
It is a tough sell.
I love Dobbins.
Would you go? Because we always talk about a tricky move in Dynasty is when you start offering a lot of draft picks, right? When you start offering these third-round picks that are just not as valuable.
No.
Would you offer for J.K. Dobbins right now your 21 class and your 22 class? The 22 class right now doesn't even look that great. Our producer, Jared, is our Debbie lead analyst. How's that 22 class look, Jared?
It's looking better than we originally thought.
The receivers.
Receivers are great.
I'm still not sold on the running backs.
Running
Running backs are probably the lowest out of 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. 2022 is probably the bottom.
Okay.
Of that.
So would you right now for J.K. Dobbins, no players on the table, you're a contender. Hey, I'll give you, because this holds water. This holds a little weight, right? Hey, I'll give you my entire 21 class. I'll give you my entire 22 class. So which essentially is
2 firsts and 2 seconds.
2 firsts and a second. 2 seconds for J.K. Dobbins. I would do that. Matt, would you do that?
Man.
We're assuming these are late.
There's going to be late picks.
Yeah, these are going to be late picks. Obviously.
I'm doing it then.
Yeah, I probably
Pick
would.
9 to 12.
I probably would. Yeah, because I love the player, and I have throughout the whole process. When you were talking up JT and all that, I was still up there with Dobbins. So yeah, I think I'd probably do that.
He was most likely a higher pick, a top 6 pick in your rookie draft. So that team was already not a good team. So they're already kind of still somewhere on the bottom. I know J.K. Dobbins look good, but the enticement of getting 2 whole draft class, that's where you overdo them. That's where you overdo it. You just give them, hey, you're getting a 3rd, 4th, maybe you have a 5th and 6th round in your draft like we do.
Right, and
it just looks like a plethora of picks.
That can be enough for somebody to finally kind of pry out their prized possession, because you're giving up so much. You could rebuild and restock your whole team, and that's how you sell it.
For 2 years.
Right. For 2 whole years, you're going to have double drafts, and that's how you do it, man.
And I look at J.K. Dobbins like an early Aaron Jones. When those two came out, we were saying on the podcast, don't draft Jamal Williams in the first. Like, just draft Aaron Jones out of UTEP. It's just better value. Not in that comparison we were getting him late, but I look at J.K. Dobbins is that kind of player where we just talked about Aaron Jones averaging 23 points per game, right? That's J.K. Dobbins. We talked about his skill set fitting that RPO scheme perfectly.
Yep.
Lamar Jackson's struggling right now a little bit. Not a lot of receivers. This player like J.K. Dobbins can help Lamar Jackson. So we're talking about a guy who has the potential to go up to that over 20 point per game to get that top 6 conversation. And we talked about James Robinson. He's averaging 18 points per game, and he's running back 5 on the year. So J.K. Dobbins can enter top 6 running back territory. I would take J.K. Dobbins over Jonathan Taylor easily right now without even second guessing it. I might even throw in a 2nd round pick to get the deal done. Honestly, that's how much I like. That's how
You're saying
J.K. Dobbins over Jonathan Taylor. Just out of what I've seen out of Taylor, there's a lot to worry me. I've seen this movie before. I've seen running backs like him and the things that he's doing that do not end well. whatsoever.
Right. No,
You know?
I'm totally
The
with you.
Isaiah Crowell
Isaiah
treatment,
Crowell,
right?
running right into the back of your offensive line when there's a wide open hole right to your left.
It's been weird. And obviously, I've been the biggest Taylor fan on this podcast. I really like Jonathan Taylor. I really liked him post-draft. I had him third pre-draft. Post-draft, big fan. I thought this was the perfect fit for his skill set. Still do.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, what his skill set was in college has not translated at all. One of the things we saw is he would widen that wide zone scheme, and he would find the gap, plant his foot, and get upfield. He's just putting his head down and running into the back of his lineman. It's baffling to me. If he can figure it out, I still think he can be great. But I'm genuinely worried now about it.
We're video guys. The video evidence says right now that it's not good.
It's not. And so I'm definitely worried.
Antonio Gibson has more fantasy points than Jonathan Taylor. David Johnson has more fantasy points. Myles Gaskin has more fantasy points. Chris Carson's played in 6 games. He's got more fantasy points. Ronald Jones has more fantasy points than Jonathan
Well, what
Taylor.
about Jordan? I mean, Jordan Wilkins looked pretty decent this past week.
He had a good
now
game.
they also
Now
said he has
not.
an ankle. His ankle's
was
a
an
little bit
ankle
banged up, so
injury.
it could be a little bit injury, but it still doesn't. And maybe he's trying a little bit too hard because he's not producing. Jordan Wilkins is there, and that's why he doesn't. He's got to calm down. I'm not giving up on Jonathan Taylor either yet right now. But
Right.
And this
if I can
isn't-
flip him for a guy like J.K. Dobbins, like I'm doing it.
I would absolutely do that as well.
And my point with Jordan Wilkins was not to say that Jordan Wilkins is good, because I think he's just a guy. I think he's
Right.
just a jag as far as being a running back. But the offensive line is that good that he was able to.
He's
produce
able to make it happen.
And Jonathan Taylor's just not behind that same offensive line.
So
that's
this could be this is
concerning.
a little too narrative driven than I like. But we've seen a Wisconsin running back come out before and totally tank their rookie season.
Right.
I mean, Melvin Gordon came out and literally didn't have a touchdown in his rookie year, which was baffling. Came out after that, was great. So I don't know. Like this is the most puzzling thing out of this class. Like I can explain why other players are doing poorly or well, even if it's opposite of what I thought originally. This is baffling me. Like I just don't understand where his vision went. It's just gone.
Can you explain your contested catch rating for Justin Jefferson?
He had like 4 points this week.
This
He
guy.
sucks.
Come on.
He sucks. I moved him
guy.
way down my board.
We ragged on that for how many weeks?
Just about.
Hey, who was right on
3
that
or
one
4.
too?
Yeah. Oh, I was trying to miss.
You're embarrassing me in front of my friends.
High fives don't sound good on camera.
I don't. I'm
They
not
really
trying
don't.
to.
They
That
really
wasn't for the camera. That was for us.
Oh, okay, my
In
bad.
Garrett's face, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well,
Flip the script on this, right? Is this? So we're sitting there poo-pooing all over Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor,
And
yeah.
nobody likes a poop sandwich. Nobody does.
absolutely not.
I'm sure there's some freaky people out there who do. But we do not like poop sandwiches. Contender. Is this a buy window for Jonathan Taylor?
I still believe enough that I'm buying. Now I like J.K. Dobbins more.
Yeah, but flip that. We're just focused now on Jonathan Taylor.
If this has
A buy
depressed his
window.
value, which I do believe it has,
It definitely is.
It for sure has.
Yep.
then I'll give you my mid 2021 first for Jonathan Taylor all day.
There's got to be some people freaking out here and be like, dude, that video's like in somebody's eyes right now where he's running the back of his line and they're like, oh, this is not going to pan out.
Yeah,
He's just not putting together. Would you give a 21 first, say it's around pick 6, right around
Perfect. I would absolutely do that. I can sell that as you might be able to get like a Najee Harris, Chuba Hubbard. Those guys might be available in that range, or one of those really good
You're going to
receivers.
get a really good receiver there.
Yeah.
Kyle Pitts.
Yeah. So I would be willing to do that. I think the talent and the fit in the offense is still there. I just he's got to figure out these vision issues. Hopefully he does. Trent Richardson never did. Other guys have been able to evolve over time and over their career. They've been able to learn. They've been able to film study, and the game has slowed down for them mentally. That is what I'm hoping happens here with Jonathan Taylor. But I'll be honest, like I'm perplexed.
Matt, would you buy?
I would buy for that price.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Mid
it.
first, I'd buy.
Any more questions?
Yeah, because I did want to touch on one more player rest of season because this guy has interesting value. Chase Edmonds. So it kind of came out. We didn't touch on the injuries, but it came out that Drake's injury might not be nearly as bad as originally thought. It still looks like Edmonds is going to be the starter this week, but there's a lot up in the air with the situation. So this could be a guy in an Arizona offense that has the opportunity to take over the job, and he can run away with it figuratively and literally. Or Drake could come back in. So his value is kind of tough to gauge right now. So rest of season, because chances are if you're buying Edmonds, you're trying to get a little bit deeper at running back. You're hoping to have like a flex running back or something like that you can play.
I'm selling Edmonds right now.
So you're selling.
Now, here's why. Edmonds' name right now in the Dynasty community, it's pretty hot because everybody's like, oh, he's taking over. He's going to do that Kenyon Drake. And him and Kenyon Drake, honestly, in a year are pretty much the same player. I know Edmonds has looked better on film, so to say, but from fantasy.
And he's been way more used in the passing game.
Yeah, but from fantasy football perspective, we're looking at running back 25, Kenyon Drake. Running back number 26, Chase Edmonds.
But look at the touches.
Kenyon Drake averaging 12.2 points per game. Edmonds averaging 12. Yes, it's the touches. I understand that too, and that can increase for sure. But I'm not still sold. Right now, people are looking at Chase Edmonds like kind of like we looked at Kenyon Drake at the end of last year, right? He was going in the first round in some redrafts. We talked about it. If he gets re-signed there, this is like a running back one. We predict him as a running back one in a running back one prediction show.
Right.
I'm not sold now onto the point, even in this mixture of how they're using them, because they don't have to use Kenyon Drake, right? Cliff Kingsbury doesn't have to use Kenyon Drake because he's not there long term. They didn't pay him. He's not. Right. They can step away from him. Like, listen, just like Baltimore could do with Mark Ingram, right?
Right.
They can take a step back and be like, listen, we're paying you. That's fine. But now Chase Edmonds is the man. They know Chase Edmonds better than anybody else, right? I'm in the firm belief that the running back of the future for the Cardinals is not on that roster right now. They could draft a guy because they look at it. Hey, we got DeAndre Hopkins. We can sign a tight end. Maybe they get like a guy like Hunter Henry if they don't re-sign in LA. But I think this is a team that could really use a running back. They could be the surprise team that drafts a guy like Travis Etienne in the first round, right? A Najee Harris in the first round. I could see them as getting their running back in the future somewhere else, either by the draft or even free agency, because there's going to be some free agent running backs that are looking for a home. We know some of those guys are looking for a home. So for me, Chase Edmonds right now in the Dynasty community, this is not dissing Chase Edmonds.
Right.
But for a team, I think right now with all these running backs getting hurt, people are desperate for running backs right now.
They are.
Desperate.
Absolutely.
So you're going to get some slight overpays on running backs. And I think Chase Edmonds is one of those guys you get a slight overpay first. I wouldn't mind selling Chase Edmonds in my second for somebody's first, trying to compete for that spot. Preferably not a first place team, but like a 7th, 8th place team that are trying to make that push into the spot. And like, hey, I'm not even giving up a pick. I'm just moving back in the draft for them. And I think this draft class in 21 is so talented. The difference between a second round pick and a first round pick is pretty defined. So I personally am selling Chase Edmonds. I think he's a fine running back, but I just think he is what he's always been, a really good complementary back that, unless he's given the opportunity to be the starter, is never going to really define or change your team to a championship caliber level. And I would just rather be better positioned and get a long-term stability player for my dynasty team in the first round of a really nice incoming rookie class.
Even as a contender.
If you're a contender, if you're a contender right now, Chase Edmonds is not the reason you're a contender.
No, but when you get playoff time, we've seen how quickly these running backs drop. I don't want to lose any running back depth, especially somebody that I think, even if Drake comes back, I still think could put up 10 points a week because of the PPR floor.
I'm still selling. Sometimes as a dynasty owner, you got to be smart about your moves. And I know, and sometimes you got to go for that shit, but that shouldn't limit you about being a smart dynasty owner, right? I have no problem playing safe, but I don't think Chase Edmonds is a guy I necessarily have to play it safe for. Because if I think there's another running back I might be able to go out there and trade for that can almost give me the same production at Chase Edmonds.
Sure.
Than the value of Chase Edmonds right now in the dynasty community. This is just a window right now.
I totally agree with you, because I think if Kenyon Drake's injury is not long term, and it sounded like it's not going to be, Chase Edmonds and Kenyon Drake, they almost flip flop. Neither one of them has like a big game on the same day. There's like one of them scores like 3 points and the other one's scoring like 25 points. And I don't think Cliff Kingsbury has one of these guys and he's like, this is my guy. I think it's however it works out during that game, whoever's playing better that game is just going to get featured. I don't think he's married to either one of these guys. I think he likes Chase Edmonds a little bit more, but I think he realizes that Kenyon Drake has juice in his legs, you know what I mean? And if he can get him going in a game, he's going to keep on feeding him the rock. And that's what makes Chase Edmonds just a little bit too tricky of a proposition for me to like go out and get right now if I'm a contender.
I actually believe that there is a chance. Now, I'm not saying it's a guarantee. There's tons of things that could happen. I actually do think he has a shot to be their running back in 2021. I think the value of running backs in the draft where guys are like, you know what? Instead of getting that high price back, because I don't think their team's in that position yet. I think they would rather invest in defense. I think they would rather invest in their offensive line and protect Kyler Murray. Like, I think there are other things that they would rather invest in. I think Chase Edmonds is a very good pass catching back, which is what they want their running backs to do. So I think there is a shot, 50-50 shot, let's say.
You don't think they could spend a 4th-round draft pick on a guy that could come in and beat him next year?
Not next year's class.
He's got about a good enough chance of Jonathan Taylor being a 1-1 and Justin Jefferson not being good at contested catches.
DJ Dallas.
You saw him like thinking that through.
As soon as he said it, the first thing that popped in my head, I was just waiting for my time to speak for once. That was all I was doing.
Why didn't you just cut me off like normal?
It's again,
a good point.
We talk about it all the time. Dynasty's about windows for buying and selling.
Sure.
I just think right now, and I'm not saying this is a must sell, but it's testing the waters on the window because it's a name right now. Sure. Right? And there's some leagues that not every league, you'll be able to get overpay for Chase Edmonds. Mm-hmm. That's what I mean.
Everyone's got that guy in their roster that they've been holding on to and hoping that his value kind of returns in order to pull off a trade. I feel like that's Chase Edmonds in my eyes. If I had him on my roster, I'd be waiting for an opportunity like this to sell him.
You missed that window on Ronald Jones.
Well, you're right.
Mm-hmm. You dropped it, just
He's
like
gone.
you dropping those balls in
But
Tampa Bay.
the good news about that,
it's like he hit puberty.
The good news about that is Fournette's going to get injured again. Like, you know what I mean? Before the end of the season,
Maybe come back.
Yeah, but Ronald Jones is. I mean, Tom Brady's just gonna be sick to his stomach with this guy at this point.
Yeah, dude, it's every single game I watch, he drops a pass. It's like, come on, jugs, go to the jugs machine, man.
Yeah, TDs, jugs, get all about it. Yes, come on, help us out here. So
I know DJ Dallas is on the jugs machine.
Oh,
Those
for
TDs,
sure.
Yeah, he is.
double
Those hands
TDs.
are good.
Yeah.
I was on the jugs machine.
All right.
So that's it. Nerd Herd episode coming out this week. Hopefully within the next day or two. It's a trade extravaganza show.
Yeah, we're going to be
so
talking about trades.
You're not missing too much, kind of like we were just talking about now.
Right.
We'll get that out to you. We apologize. There's an election going on. There's a podcast studio. We get,
It's already super late. I don't know if you've seen me yawn a couple of times, but I've yawned a couple times.
So if you're listening, make sure you get to YouTube.
Yeah.
Hit that likes button. Hit that subscribe button. Because not only can you listen to the podcast, you can look at it. We're going to be doing some really fun giveaways on YouTube as well. We got this beautiful Baker Mayfield jersey here. We're going to be giving away autographed football jerseys, other things as well. You'll have an option to win. We'll be doing those promos mostly on YouTube channel. Why? Because we want to increase our YouTube presence. That's why. And what are we going to do? We're going to bribe you with awesome jerseys to give away. And all you got to do is go to YouTube.
Not above that.
We're not above that at all.
I'm not above anything. See me? I'm not even standing up. I'm not above this desk. So for me, all you got to do is go to YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. That way you get notified when the podcast comes up. You can figure out how you can win some sweet autographed NFL jerseys. Doesn't stop you from listening on here. Listen there too. Go to both.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, get to that iTunes, leave us a rating review.
We had a lot
5
of people
stars.
do that.
We did. We asked the Nerd Herd to hook us up. So if you like the show, leave us a rating review. It's just a good way to get the show out there. We're always trying to expand the game of Dynasty. We're here to do that today. Make sure to check out DynastyNerds.com with the Dynasty GM. Listen, guys, gals, if you're not trying the Dynasty GM, just trying it for free. You can literally go to the site and try it for free. This is the time to try it. You have to try it out. You're in the middle of the road. Are you a contender? Are you not a contender? We just added a new feature. Garrett, what did we just add to the GM?
We just added player shares,
Player
which
shares.
is amazing for people that are degenerates and have 53 leagues.
Hey,
and
guess who's my number one owned player?
Baker
I was going to say
Mayfield.
Jerick McKinnon.
Jarek McKinnon.
Yeah.
Thought for sure.
No, it's Baker Mayfield.
All right, Matt.
My number 2 guy
Matt, do you
was
know who
kinda
your number one
surprised.
is?
I actually don't. I have to go check on mine.
Matt, come on.
I don't, man.
Guess who mine is?
DJ Dallas.
Yeah, it is.
I know you don't have him in one league because I snaked you.
I know. I was so ticked.
Mine's Rojo.
I seriously have him in like 76% or something like that.
Nice.
Though. And then number 2, Darius Slayton. I'm a guy that stays on brand.
There you go. I have the old one up on my iPad here. I got to bring up my player rankings. But the number 2 guy surprised me was I got a lot of Jerick McKinnon too.
I'm sure you do.
Well, that ship's sinking fast. Fast as his little legs take him. Okay.
Hey, Devin Coleman's out.
But listen, I mean,
Saying
if you
there's
want
a
to see,
chance.
we have the win now contender rankings. So see where there's so much going on now from we originally launched the Dynasty GM to where it is today. I can't sit here for an hour talking about it. The best thing to do is go to DynastyNerds.com, click the Dynasty GM. If you don't have it already, there's an option to try for free. Literally for the price of a cup of coffee. If you want a latte, you get all the above. for the GM. This tool, in my opinion, is the greatest Dynasty tool out there today. It's going to help you be a better Dynasty player. It helps you manage all your leagues in one spot. And if you think all these updates over the last 3 months have been great, we have more coming as well. This will be an ever-evolving tool for your Dynasty team. It's going to be the best investment you're going to make in your Dynasty league.
Hunter Henry, number one for me.
Really? Hunter
Henry, and then Mike Williams.
There it is.
There we go.
Mike Williams, Justin Jefferson, and DJ Dallas.
Look at that.
All tied for second.
So you got to check it out.
You're welcome.
Check it out.
Thank you
See
very
who
much.
your number one owned player is, who you love the most is. And there's a player search bar now. So if you want to go out there real quick and we're saying, hey, now's the move to go make J.K. Dobbins, you don't have to go through and look. Just type in J.K. Dobbins and tell you every
find
single
exactly.
person. We have player cards up there now too
They
as
look
well.
great too.
All I ask, again, is just go try. It's free. There's no strings attached. You're not putting any credit card information in. You just go in, put your email in, and you get a Dynasty GM for free. If you haven't yet, now is absolutely the time to do it. DynastyNerds.com. And remember, when you subscribe to things like this, like the Nerd Herd and the GM, you're not just supporting DynastyNerds.com. You're supporting Dynasty Fantasy Football. We're lucky enough to be at the forefront of Dynasty Fantasy Football. And all our intent here is to do, same thing with the YouTube channel, is to grow the game of Dynasty that we all love. If we all know, we've all been there, that from the first time we went to redraft to try out Dynasty, and you do it and you're like, holy Cowboys and Indians.
Totally different.
Game changer. I mean, it gets you
Totally
out
stop
of
playing
redraft.
redraft.
I hate redraft.
Dude, redraft is nowhere near as fun for
I'm
me
in
at
2
all.
leagues, and it's like, it's just because you're my friend.
I was going to say, people are making it.
Yeah.
In my redraft leagues where when I'm in last place, I'm like, Rich, you're on TV, you're on radio, and your team's in 10th place. And I'm like, well,
Yeah, I'm in rebuild.
to be truth, I'm only in this league. So I've been in for 20 years. I don't really care. Like, how many free agent moves do you think I make? Not many.
I've got no skin in this game.
Yeah. I'm losing. In Dynasty, when I'm losing, I'm winning.
You're right.
I have a chance to get Travis Etienne or Trevor Lawrence in Superflex.
Give me those Clemson boys.
He's so handsome. So check it out today, DynastyNerds.com. Let's grow the game of Dynasty Fantasy Football. Let's do it together. DynastyNerds.com. Check out that YouTube channel. Leave us a little review. We'll be back next week with a brand new president of the United States.
Possibly.
It ain't going to be me.
Nope.
I voted for you.
I wrote myself in too.
Whoa, that's 2 votes.
There it
2
is.
votes.
I
Look
didn't,
at us.
I didn't vote for either one of you.
What?
He's off the show.
Adios.
All right.